our Heavenly Father, we thank you for giving the opportunity to begin the second session. We ask for your blessing and divine providence that the activities set for this understanding be successful and effective. Bless our speaker, Dr. R. Vijay Solomon, and all the participants. Thank you for your love, Father. Guide us, guard us, and give us wisdom to understand the topic that we are going to discuss. Enlighten our mind. May this program bring success from the beginning to till the end of the session. With your blessing, Lord. All this we pray through our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, ma'am. It's time to welcome and introduce the young, enthusiastic and energetic speaker of the second session, Dr. R. Vijay Solomon, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry, Madras Christian College, Chennai. I am really honored to introduce the resource person of the session to Dr. R. Vijay Solomon. He has completed his PhD in Bharathidasan University, Trichy on 2012. Participants, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. He was a postdoctoral fellow during the year 2012 to 2014 in the University of Basel, Switzerland. And also he was a postdoctoral associate during 2014 to 16 in the University of South Carolina, USA. And his area of research is theoretical and computational chemistry, chem informatics and drug designing, host-guest interactions and halogen bonding, nuclear waste management and energy materials. He has published 43 national and international peer-reviewed journals, and also he has published one book chapter.
And he's having the Hachi next 30. He was awarded as a MCC Best Researcher Award
2020 and UBCHEA Institutional Grant in 2019 and Yarrier Career Research Award in 2018, Swiss Excellence Scholarship in 2012, UGC MNANF JRF and SRF 2019 to 2012. Best Presentation Award, he got more than 4, and he received funds from various funding agencies like DST, SERB and UBCHEA USA. He is acting as a reviewer for Elsevier, Springer and RSC journals. He has given many invited talks and he has attended many national and international conferences. We are very happy to have you as a resource person for this session, sir. Now it is over to the speaker. Sir, please. Vijay, sir. Sir, unmute your audio. Sir, unmute please.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm very happy and thank you very much for the nice introduction. And it's my pleasure to address this learned community. Okay, my topic is journal selection, guidelines and precautionary measures. And in the morning, we had a wonderful session on manuscript writing and the nuances associated with writing a good manuscript for a quality journal. Okay, and the first half we dealt with how to write that, and now the rest of the job will be done only when we publish that in a good journal. So I'm going to talk on journal selection and some of the guidelines and what are the precautionary measures that we need to take. And before going to the talk, I thank Lord Almighty for having me here to address this crowd. And I also thank Madras Christian College, Chennai and the management and the organizers of Saratakan College. Thank you. Okay. So when you think about the research work, and if you really want to have a good research publications, we need to have an idea. That idea can come from anywhere, or it can come from a day-to-day activity, or it may be a small inspiration that you get from anyone or anywhere. And once you get a small inspiration or a human thinking, that will be converted into a research project where you need to design a research work. And once the research work is designed, and you will really need to understand whether is it possible in my laboratory, is it possible in the circumstances that we live in the college or university or engineering college, and so on. So we need to come up with a research plan. Once the plan is set, and if we have a funding resources or we have a facilities, then what we will do, we will either start the research work or we will ask our students to do the work. So some young courageous students will join under us as a PhD students, and they will work the research problem. They will execute the experiments in the laboratories, and their precious youth toiling life is in the fluorescent lit laboratories to repeat the experiments, to understand how, where, when the hypothesis is going in a right way or not. Once that experiment is okay in your view, then what we will do, we will try to come up with some of the results, okay, in the form of a chart, pie chart, or a graphical representation, tables, figures. And once we arrange all those things, and then what we will do, we will try to write the manuscript, okay. A cohesive story is added, and that should be introduction to conclusions. We will draft it, and it will undergo many corrections by our supervisors or colleagues. And once that is ready, then we are ready for the manuscript submission. And if you really think about a small piece of work that you have in your mind when you are initially started this work, and after some time, say for example 6 months or some years, and you will have a manuscript ready with you. A carefully crafted and straightforward description of the impact of one's work can go a long way toward communicating its significance. So ultimately, we are communicating our research idea, innovations, or our results with our community. Okay, by submitting a manuscript, we are basically trying to sell our work to our community. Okay, I have given a small picture or a cartoon here. Two astronauts were talking, and one said, "Hey Tom, I wanted to apologize about yesterday when I called you a worthless astronaut." And the other one said, "You never called me that." "Oh really? Okay, never mind then. What does it mean if a paper is unnoticed by our peers? Okay, then it is waste. Our paper is worthless if no one reads, uses, or cites it. If nobody cares about your work, why do you want to do research?" So we need to ask this question before going for publication. Whatever we do, it should be helpful for the society in any way. Okay, and before going into the business, and I have got many questions related to the selection of journals from the feedback that you have given in the Google form, and it is impossible to put all the questions, but I have categorized them into major areas, and I have listed here. What are UGC CAR journals? Why some journals are suddenly disappearing from UGC CAR list? I published a paper in UGC CAR journal, and now the journal is removed from the list. What does it mean? Does my research become waste? Whether to give preference to impact factor or name of the journal while communicating article, because ASME is a big name but do not have impact factor. So many impact factors available. Every journal is claiming that they have an impact factor. Which one is reliable? Is there any relationship between impact factor and citation? How much one should pay to publish a paper in a Scopus journal? How to identify fake journal? How to select a suitable journal for my research work? So these are the key questions that I can compile here, and I believe, and I'm sure that during the course of this presentation, you will be getting the answers for these questions. If not, you can ask at the end. You are welcome. Okay, so I have planned my talk in this way. Let me introduce UGC CAR journals, then type of publications, what is open access, what is article processing charges, do we need to pay to publish a paper in a standard journals, or what are predatory journals or fake journals, how to identify them, and some of the guidelines, practical tips to select a journal. UGC CAR journal. If you think about University Grants Commission is the highest apex body in regulating the higher education in India. Okay, so in 2015 they came up with the idea of regulating or streamlining the quality of research publications, and initially they had a huge list of 38,000 journals, and the education list raised serious concerns about the quality of the journals, and recently in 2019 they came up with this idea of UGC CAR, University Grants Commission Consortium for Academic and Research Ethics. Okay, here the entire list, the entire journals, the list of journals are divided into two groups. Okay, UGC CAR list. You all can create a username and password. It is free of cost. So you can create and you can just crawl through the website. UGC CAR list. They have two groups. One is called UGC CAR list Group 1 and UGC CAR list Group 2. Let me first come to UGC CAR list Group 2. If you look at that, the UGC CAR list Group 2, they have two globally accepted databases, namely the Web of Science, which includes Arts and Humanities Citation Index, Science Citation Index SCI journals, Social Science Citation Index. So all three citation indexes are included in Web of Science. If a journal is present in Web of Science, it is automatically a part of Group 2 journal. And another one global database is Scopus. So those journals which are part of Web of Science or Scopus or both, they are automatically be a part of UGC CAR list Group 2. Okay, no further analysis of these journals will be done by the UGC cell, and all such journals are included in the UGC CAR list. Okay, so whatever the journals which are present in Scopus or Web of Science, and that is automatically part of UGC CAR list. On the other hand, these global databases such as Web of Science and Scopus do not have a forum to include journals from languages, let's say Sanskrit, okay, or Malayalam, or Telugu, or Marathi, Gujarati, and so on. And some of the specialized areas in our India, so those journals are not having any possibility to get into those lists, Web of Science and Scopus. So UGC framed a committee comprises of eminent professors from universities and research institutes, and the journals which are not part of Web of Science and Scopus, still they believe that they are a good quality journal in their own domain, then they can apply for the accreditation in UGC CAR. And this committee will sit and they will look into the merits and demerits of the journal, and they will include that into Group 1. So what are the journals that you can find in Group 1 will not have any place in Group 2. But no matter, you can publish your papers in any of the journals. Okay. Now, if you look at the UGC CAR list, and they have clearly mentioned here, the UGC CAR list is dynamic, which means some people are saying that, yes, I published a paper and suddenly my journal is disappear from that because the list is dynamic. If any good quality journal is missing, it may be submitted by the following prescribed process. And if any undeserved journal is found anywhere in the list, it may kindly be reported through feedback option. So as a citizen of India, as an educationalist, as an academician, it is our responsibility to report those fake journals or the journals with substandard quality, journals without any review process and without any ethical guidelines. It can be brought into the notice of this committee with the option. So that is why some of the journals are removed, which means the committee got feedback from a citizen of India saying that this standard is substandard, this journal should not be there in the list, and immediately the action will be taken on those journals. Okay. On the other hand, they have included some of the journals, and the number is given here: Sciences 329, Social Sciences 265, Arts and Humanities 311, Multidisciplinary 36, and Indian Languages 200. Okay, journals indexed in Web of Science as well as Scopus are discontinued or not included in the count. Okay, so you can search through your title, ISSN publisher, subject, language of publisher, and you can find the journal which you would like to publish or consider for your research work. you can search here, and this will give only the group 1 journals. And remember, you cannot find any of the journals name which are part of Web of Science and Scopus, because it is automatically included in the UGC CARE list. Okay, look at here. They have included a journal called African Journal of Business and Economic Research, and they have included in the UGC CARE list, and recently it is also indexed in Scopus. So they mentioned here. So this is dynamic. And you look at that, they have given ISSN and EISSN. EISSN is the electronic version of that particular journal and their articles. And you look at that, if it is if it doesn't have any online version, then they say that it is not applicable. Most of the journals will have both ISSN and EISSN. And some of the journals are discontinued from April 2020 or May, because every month they are updating the list. So we need to be very careful in selecting a journal. Okay, so my suggestion would be, if you do not have any journal possibility in Scopus or Web of Science, then you can very well come to UGC CARE list group 1 journals. And if not, you please go and look for journals in group 2, which is Web of Science and Scopus. I think I made it clear. Okay, do we need to pay for publications? Okay, now we'll come to this particular part, because some of the times we heard that the journal is asking money and so on. So let us understand the philosophy by which the types of journals are working here. So 2 types of journals. The journals carefully. Okay, if you look at how many journals are available in the world, when you think about open access journal, there is a directory called Directory of Open Access Journals. We will be seeing that in the later slides. So that shows around 15,000 journals available in that database. So 15,000 open access journals are available. But in India, we have more than 43,000 open access journals available, which means you can pay and you can publish like that. We will see that in the later stages. Before understanding the open access,
அதுமே பீலே வருதே switch account
and RSC Chemical Biology is again a gold open access, which means these 2 journals are from Royal Society of Chemistry, London. They came up with the idea of launching these 2 new open access journals, where if you want to publish your article here, once the manuscript is accepted, you need to pay the charges, and so that your article will be free of cost in the internet. Some journals are saying hybrid gold open access. Okay, here initially these journals are subscription based journals, and once your article is accepted, and if you wish your article should be freely available in the internet, and if you are ready to pay the amount, then you can go for these journals, hybrid gold open access journals. Here the authors publish in a traditional subscription journals, but may offer gold open access option to their articles by paying the article processing charges. Okay, so this is very, very important. You need to understand what are hybrid gold open access journals. Okay, I have given an example here. Look at the Journal of Banking and Finance. Is a premier journal in this domain. It says supports open access, which means this journal is originally a subscription based journal, and if your paper is accepted and if you are willing to pay the fee, article processing fee, so that your content will be freely available for the public, then you can go for this. So these journals will have the option called supports open access. Okay, some of the journals says it's green open access. Okay, green open access is where an author publishes their article in any journal or then self-archives. Even though in gold open access, or hybrid open access journals, your content is freely available in the internet. You cannot have the copy of the PDF version, copy of the manuscript in your own website, because you have given the rights to the journal, so that the journal will have the free content in their websites, and you cannot have it in your own repository or in your databases in your institution for access. Okay, but Green Open Access says that it is again a open access. You need to pay the charges, and most of the time this payment is taken care of the library subscriptions. So that is also a definition. Not many journals are going for Green Open Access, but the definition says that there are Green Open Access. You can have a self-archived articles in your website. There are other terms called Diamond or Platinum Open Access. Here they do not charge either authors or the readers. Then how they are running the journal, because that journal is subscribed by the academic institutions or learned society or the government. When the government is taking care of the journal, it will not ask any money from the readers or authors. The content is freely available. One such journal is this, called Platinum Open Access Journal, Biointerface Research in Applied Chemistry. If you publish your article and you don't want to pay anything, and still your content will be freely available in the website. So such journals are called Platinum Open Access. So we have seen Gold Open Access, Hybrid Gold Open Access, Green Open Access, Platinum Open Access journals. So when you are choosing a journal, you need to be very careful in selecting a journal, what type of open access options they are giving, if at all you are going for open access. Okay, what are the benefits of open access? Number one, it is freely available in the internet. Many people will read your content, more exposure for your work, and new people will take up your work. They will build on their work based on your work, and you will get a lot of citations, because visibility will be at higher rate. And we are doing all research and everything from the money that are collected from the taxpayers. So the taxpayers get value for their money, and whenever you have a good suggestion, you have a good results, you have a good plan can be implemented in the society, that can be taken up by the government and implemented in the policy, and the policy decisions can be altered with your research. All these things are benefits of open access. So the other dimension of open access is article processing charges. And article processing charges, the name APC is coined by the two premier publications in biology, that is called PLOS, Public Library of Science, and Biomed Central, BMC. They started coming up with the open access journals in the early 2000 years, where authors or institutions should pay the money for publications, so that the content will be freely available for the public. Okay, if you look at that average, how much one should pay. Okay, this study in 2012 says that they have analyzed 1,370 journals, published more than 1 lakh articles in 2010, and they said that around $904 per article, which means approximately 60,000 rupees we need to pay for each and every article to be published in the world on average. The price ranges from $8 to $4,000, which means 500 rupees to you can say that 2 lakh rupees. This is the case in 2012. And I want to publish a paper in Elsevier. Elsevier is a premier publishing group, a publishing industry, which publishes around 2,800 journals. Out of 2,800 journals, only 100 journals are a complete open access, and remaining 2,700 journals are hybrid open access. So I have given the list of the open access journals. You see the minimum amount can be paid so that we can get a paper in Elsevier is $150 for materials today proceedings, and the highest amount is around $5,900, which is a hybrid journal called Cell, whose impact factor is 36.216. Okay, you just think about that, 4 lakh rupees you need to pay so that your article will be free of cost, available in the internet for the readers when you publish a paper in Cell. So this is the amount where it starts from $150 and it ends with around $6,000. Okay, and I talked about two databases when I talked about the UGC CAP. One is Scopus and Web of Science. What is Scopus? It's the world's largest abstract and citation databases, covering more than 38,000 journals under their kit, and this will also give the citations, how many people are referring the particular journal, particular paper. All these things will be handled by this citation database. And here you can have sources. You can freely create a username and password to access the content here. Just Google it, Scopus or scopus.com. You can go to sources and you can find total number of journals is 38,060. The 38,060 journals are available in Scopus. You can even search by subject area, keywords, journal name, the ISSN, and so on. Just you can go through and Google it, and you can just play with it. You can understand how many journals are available in my domain. Okay, and most of the time when we are talking about the journals of high quality, people are saying that science people have got a lot of journals to be published in reputed Elsevier databases or journals, but we do not have. No, that is a wrong information. You can see here language 800 odd journals, history 1200 journals, economics 1000 journals, political science 600 odd journals, education 1400 journals, chemistry 1500, physics 1400, mathematics 1600, and so on. I have collected a list of journals for a particular department. On the other hand, I have given a site score. Site score is equivalent to impact factor. We will see the definition in the coming slides. Okay, so if you look at that history, so I am from history, and I am claiming that I published a paper in impact factor 10. Very sorry, that is a fake journal, because the highest site score is 3.96 for history. So you need to understand what is the real impact factor and what is site score and so on. Okay, so these are the number of journals available for individual departments. Okay, the next one I talked about the Web of Science. Web of Science is formally, they say that it's Web of Knowledge and Web of Science. It is from Institute of Scientific Information, ISI. They have a database right from the 1960s when they came up with the idea of Science Citation Index, SCI journals. Okay, but the robust evaluation and curation of our data make the Web of Science score collection the world's most trusted publisher independent global citation database. Okay, so we have Scopus and we have Web of Science. Scopus is a product of Elsevier. So Elsevier, if Elsevier launches a new journal, it will be automatically a part of a Scopus database. But that is not the case with Web of Science, because this is a publisher independent global citation database. And here also you can freely create username and password. Okay, so if you have note and pen, please make a note of all the keywords that I am giving, so that later you can go to Google and you can read a lot about those keywords. Okay, so here you can create that. You can type the name here in the search box, and then you can find whether the journal is there or not. If the journal is not there in the list Web of Science, it will not have any impact factor. That is the first thing you need to understand. If a journal is not having a place in Web of Science, the journal will not have impact factor. You can even search through the ISSN, the 8-digit number that they are giving in the website. So please check that. I checked one such journal and they claimed that they have an impact factor. I checked that and then I got found 0 result, which means the journal is a fake journal. It is giving wrong information to the community. So this is how you can check. So Web of Science, create a username and password and check the reliability of the journal. Okay, when you think about the open access journal, open access journals having a database called Directory of Open Access Journals, DOAJ. So in order to find a place for an open access journal in Web of Science, it should have attached with this DOAJ. This is a standard database for open access journals. So whenever the journal asks money for publication, please check the journal name here in this DOAJ. And if the journal is not part of DOAJ, very sorry, the journal is not a very good journal. Okay, so DOAJ, if you are running a journal, you can apply for the indexation with the DOAJ. And DOAJ director few weeks back gave an interview where she mentioned that around 1,000 journals are submitted from India for indexation, and they can give only indexation to 40 journals, which means only 4% of the journals are maintaining the ethical guidelines and so on. So that is how 96% of the journals are rejected by this DOAJ, and still those journals are here in our society. Look at that here. 15,000 journals, or like 14,539 journals are indexed in DOAJ, covering around 48 lakh odd articles from 133 countries. Okay, the young researchers can make use of this website as a search engine, because all the freely available articles will be coming here in this. I just typed COVID-19 to see how many articles are present here. Okay, I put a search and I got 700 results found, and all these 700 papers are freely available, and the entire content can be accessed without any hindrance. So it is freely available, all are open access. So you need to understand DOAJ. Now look at that, as I mentioned in the beginning, that if it is an open access journal and you will get a lot of citations. But is it the case? The study shows in this way, average citation rates for the number of articles per journal were about 30% higher for subscription journal. What does it mean? Even though the content is freely available in the internet, and the quality is still questionable, because most of the people still believe that the subscription journals are coming up with better contents. So 30% higher subscription, higher citations are obtained for subscription based journals. On the other hand, results indicate that open access journals indexed in Web of Science or Scopus are having the same scientific impact and quality as subscription journals when it comes to citations. So if it is open access journals indexed in Web of Science or Scopus, then you can go for those journals, because they are having a good quality on par with the subscription journals. Okay, when you think about the open access, I am giving this link. Just go to Google and type open access plus Springer. Each premier publishing groups are giving complete information about their open access policy. Here, if you look at that, what is open access, benefits of gold open access, what is open access versus subscription journals, what is the difference between them, and interestingly, they are giving a quiz. So after going through all the content available in this page, please make an attempt for this quiz, and I urge all the participants to go and check your understanding on open access, which will definitely give a better confidence in selecting the journals. Okay, I just gave a comparison here, and the reliability is just from my idea I've given. I need to check that. If you look at the Web of Science and Scopus, the coverage starts from 1970s and here 1996 onwards. If you say metric impact factor is given by Web of Science, or we can say that journal citation report, and here Scopus is giving an alternate metrics, which again in line with the impact factor, its site score. Dependency, Web of Science is publisher independent, but Scopus is a product of Elsevier. Number of journals covered in Web of Science is around 24,000 journals, out of which 12,000 journals are having impact factor. Rest of them are not having impact factor, but still they are a part of Web of Science. And on the other hand, we have Scopus, 38,000 odd journals are there. Coverage, if you look at the Web of Science, it covers both science, social science, and humanities. Scopus most often it covers science and technology and a limited amount of arts and humanities, but still they have thousands of journals in that regard. And open access, yes, they accept both open access journals in their databases. So this is a comparison that I want to give. Okay, now we will see that what is the difference between impact factor and site score. There are many metrics. If you look at this journal, Computational Material Science, and there they are giving a journal metric: site score, impact factor, 5-year impact factor, source normalized impact per paper, SCI, SMAGO, journal rank, and so on. There are many metrics are given here, and we do not have much time in dealing with all the metrics, but the key metrics we will cover in this session. Let us start with the impact factor. Okay, in the morning also people have asked about what is impact factor. So impact factor, number one, the journals which are indexed in Web of Science, or other way I can say that journal citation report. So here journal citation report is very, very important. Okay, so this is a product of Clarivate Analytics. Initially, it was Thomson and Reuters, and before that, it was ISI, Institute of Scientific Information. So, journals which are part of Journal Citation Report are Web of Science. Here, the impact factor measures the average number of citations received in a particular year by papers published in the journal during the 2 preceding years. Okay, the definition is very confusing. Let us see it in a mathematical formula. Let us say I have A is the number of times articles published in a specific journal in 2014 and 2015 were cited by the journals during 2016. Let us say I am running a journal, and let's say I am running a journal and I published 50 articles in my journal in 2017 and 50 articles the entire year. I accepted 50 articles in 2018, let's say. So 2 years, 17 and 18, the total number of articles in my journal is 100. Okay, for those 100 journals, how many citations we received in 2019? Okay, so that we need to count. So A is number of citations received for the journals published in 2017 and 18 in 2019. Let's say the number is 100 papers I published, and in 2019 I got 100 citations. No matter 90 papers didn't get any citation, rest of the 10 got 10 citations, no problem. Altogether 100 citations I got. And B, what is B? B is the total number of citable items published by the journal. What do you mean by citable items? It will count articles, reviews and proceedings, and no editorial and no book reviews like that, no letter to the editors. Okay, they will not consider all those things. They will consider articles, reviews and proceedings. So impact factor is given by, I said I published 100 articles. Okay, those 100 articles are getting 100 citations in 2019. Okay, 100 articles in 2017 plus 2018. So the impact factor of this journal is 1. Very simple calculation. Is that fine? I hope you understand. The impact factor is given by Journal Citation Report, and the journals which are part of Web of Science are eligible to get an impact factor. This is how the calculation goes. Okay, so they are calculating for 2 years. So the other one is site score. Site score is very similar. They came up with site score to outsmart the impact factor, because the philosophy is same, the procedure is very same. You look at that, the citations received. Okay, here they are calculating the number of citations received in 2015 for the documents published in 12, 13 and 14. So they are calculating 3 years, the documents published in the previous 3 years and their citation in the 4th year, and some of the documents published in 12, 13, 14. But here they include all documents because they want to have some differences between impact factor and site score. So this is called site score. The site score is given by A divided by B. Okay, this you can get all this information in Scopus when you create a free username and password. I have given a formula here. Site score, you look at that, the site score is 2.7. Citation count in 2018, let's say this journal is having 4,796 citation, and divided by the documents published in 2015 to 2017, they published around 1,774 documents, including editorial, book reviews, letter to the editors, corrigendum, erratum, rebuttal, whatever it may be. Okay, so the total number of documents is 1,779. So if you divide that 4,796 divided by 1,774, the value is, what is that? 2.70. And if you look at that, this is calculated using data from April 30. Usually when impact factor is given the similar way, but they have another dynamic term called site score tracker. So this is a last year, it's a 2.7. This year, by April 9, let's say I have taken this picture in April. So they said monthly they will update. So this year the site score may be slightly improved, 3.11. So we can say that the impact factor is also in line with site score. Okay, don't confuse that. Both are related to the citations of individual journals. So these two things, Site score is given by Scopus. Impact factor is given by Journal Citation Report, which is a part of Web of Science. Web of Science is a part of Clarivate Analytics. Okay, hope I'm clear in this aspect. Okay, now predatory journals, a growing threat to academics. What are predatory journals? Before going to predatory journals, we need to understand the population of those journals in our list. India stands 9th in the scientific publications, which means we produce a lot in terms of number of publications from India, and India stands 9th in the world. And if you look at that, in the last 3 years, we are number 3, China number 1, and US number 2, and India stands at the 3rd position. But the sad side is India contributes 60% of predatory publishing groups. This tells that we are having a lot of predatory publishing industries here in India. India is a hub of predatory publications. We publish a lot of work in those fake journals, dubious journals, or predatory journals. Especially Indian colleges, the college teaching fraternity contributes to 51% of the total predatory publications. More than 2,500 predatory publishers are available, publishing number of journals. Faculty members are easily deceived by fake details given in the journal's website. So these are some of the statistics related with the predatory journals. And this we have got in Telegraph newspaper, and they said that the government college and private colleges contribute 51%, and the national institutes 11%, central universities, and even ICMR, now very popular ICMR, they are suggesting a lot of medicines for us in COVID, but they are publishing a lot. 17% of predatory publications are from ICMR, 15% of such things from Council of Scientific Research, Council of CSIR, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. ICMR is contributing to 6% of this predatory publications. And here look at that: life science, medicine, engineering, physics, chemistry, astronomy, and others. So a lot of predatory publications: life sciences, medicines, then engineering, then physics, chemistry, and others. So we need to be very careful in identifying those illegitimate journals. Okay. In the literature, there are many names are given to these predatory journals. They are called as dubious journals, fake journals, pseudo journals, mushroom journals, opportunistic journal, hijack journal, deceptive journal, and duplicate journals, and so on. So we need to be very careful in selecting a journal when our work is ready for publication. Okay, the definition is like this: journals in which authors are charged a fee to publish their articles, but the publisher does not provide the level of peer review, copy editing, typesetting, layout, distribution, long-term archiving, indexing, etc. that are associated with publishing peer-reviewed content that meets conventional scholarly publishing standards and ethics. So whenever the scholarly publishing ethics are violated, then those journals are termed as a dubious journal or a predatory journal. Okay. Why do we need to worry about these journals? Yes, we certainly care about the quality. If you look at the University Grants Commission, they made it a point here. It has been observed that unethical, deceptive practices in publishing are leading to an increased number of dubious predatory journals worldwide. It has been reported that in India, the percentage of research articles published in predatory journals is high. Unethical practices leading to pay and publish trash culture should be stopped immediately. Okay, and then they further said that any publication in predatory dubious journals or presentation in predatory dubious conferences should not be considered for academic credit, for selection, confirmation, promotion, performance appraisal, award of scholarship or academic degrees or credits in any form. With immediate effect, they have implemented the UGC CARE list. So we need to be very careful about the publications, the kind of publications that we consider for our research works. And not only that, we have NIRF ranking, National Institutional Ranking Framework. NIRF gives much weightage to research and professional practice, where the 100 marks is divided into 4 components: combined metric for publications. Here they will include only the publications listed in Web of Science and Scopus, and they are not including the UGC Catalyst Group 1 journals. Okay, that has a weightage of 35 marks, and combined metric for quality of publications, that they will curate the results from Web of Science and Scopus when it comes to citations. So no Google Scholar, no other citations will be counted. So only when your paper is appeared in Web of Science and Scopus, it will be taken into consideration for NIRF ranking, and then the citations of those papers only will be counted for the metric for quality of publication. So 35 plus 35, 70 marks are devoted to the publications, and IPR and patents having a 15 marks, and the professional practice and research projects carries 15 marks, okay, in that domain. And they are also giving some weightage to peer perception when the particular individual or institution has their name in predatory publications. That will affect the peer perception when it comes to ranking. So we need to be very careful, and we really need to look into some of the aspects of these journals before pressing the submission button for your research works. Okay, so I said that the NIRF looks for Web of Science Scopus publication. This is a guideline. Most of the data pertaining to the research, which has a large weightage, is taken from the third party and authentic sources like Scopus and Web of Science. This data is certainly valid and correct. So if you publish a paper journal, if you publish your research work in a journal which is not part of Scopus or Web of Science, then that will not be counted in ranking. So we need to be very careful in giving attention to these things. Now, Tirunelveli is very famous for halwa. Being a Tirunelvelian, I am very happy to say that our place is famous for halwa. So many of my friends, they ask me when I say that I am from Tirunelveli, oh, Tirunelveli, okay, halwa. Okay, the two shops are very famous. One is Irattakadai. Yes, the other one is Shanti. Yeah, I have got many times halwa from the new bus stand. You look at that, Shanti Sweets, Shanti Sweets, Shanti Sweets, and Shanti Sweets. 5 out of 8 shops are named as Shanti Sweets because that name is very popular in Tamil Nadu. As soon as you tell them that I am from Tirunelveli, they said, okay, do you have halwa from Shanti Sweets? And these are the predatory shops. Okay, because if you look at that new bus stand, you have lot of Shanti Sweets starting from original Shanti, Om Shanti, and LA Shanti, and so on. But if you look at that, the Shanti Sweets which is situated near the railway station is this. So we need to be always careful in selecting the halwa. I am pretty sure that no Tirunelvelian will buy halwa from the picture that I have shown from the new bus stand. I hope yes, because we know that what is original. So when you have a lot of concern in picking halwa, we need to have a lot of concern in picking the journal. So let us come to the identifying predatory journal. So he is the watchdog for predatory journal. He is a librarian called Jeffrey Biel. He is a librarian in University of Colorado, Denver, USA, and he coined the name in 2008, a predatory journal. Okay, and he came up with a huge list that is called Biel's list, and you can just Google it, Biel's list, and go to update. He has mentioned about 2,425 publishers consisting of 8,000 journals. Okay, and he has listed only 8,000 journals, but in India we have 43,000 fake journals available. Okay, and you know that the amount of corruption that has entered into the academics. Okay, characteristic features. How can we identify what is the original Shanti shop and Shanti Sweets and the predatory one? Okay, there are many ways by which you can understand a journal is a predatory or a legitimate journal, but some of the common aspects I covered here and some of the examples also I'll give here. Use of attractive words in the journal title, such as international, global, world, universal, Asian, American, or European, which means that they'll say that international journal of something. And if you look at that, if you try to locate their offices, they will be there in Sathangulam, or it will be there in Madurai. but they said it's a global journal and so on. So whenever you come across a term international, global, world, or Asian, then you need to be very careful. And I'm not subscribing to all the journals which are starting from International Aspect. No, I am not subscribing for that, because International Journal of Quantum Chemistry is a well-known journal in my computational chemistry field, where Nobel laureates are used to submit their manuscript to that journal, which has a very low impact factor. Don't worry about the impact factor, but the quality is there. So all international journals are fake journals. No, I am not telling that. But whenever you come across the term international, global, world, universal, Asian, American, European, you need to be very careful. And then multidisciplinary scope and broad coverage of subject. Most of the journals says is Journal of Arts, Science, Humanities, and Social Sciences, and Research and Engineering. What else you need? They will have all the scopes in their title, and they say that this is a whatever paper you publish, and you pay money, because most of the journals pertaining to predatory journals are open access journals, which means you need to pay the article processing fee. But they clearly violate the review process and the ethics, the scholarly publishing ethics, and they will get the money, they will publish. So the title, the journal title says that it's a journal of so and so, and that it will accommodate all sort of nonsenses into their kit. And then location in the developing countries and claiming an address in US or UK. As I said, that they say that it is a British Journal of Chemical Sciences and Engineering. And if you look at that, their contact address, they will say they are running from Haryana, and they claim that British Journal. So you need to be very careful whenever you come across any of the websites. Please go and check the contact address. Abuse of Committee on Publication Ethics. As I said, that there will not be any peer review. There will not be the publication guidelines, the ethics, everything will not be clearly mentioned in the website, or even if the website mention them, they will not have those ethics. They will definitely abuse those publication ethics. And using fake impact factors like general impact factor, global impact factor, journal influence factor, science impact factor, universal impact factor, journal impact factor, Cosmos impact factor, research journal impact factor, and so on. There are 26 types of fake impact factors available, and you can just Google it, misleading metrics. You can find some of the websites where you can understand about those fake details or metrics which are no way connected with the impact of a journal. And then they will claim that they are indexed in many societies. Look at that, ROAD, Publons, Sci-Hub, Scilet, and then Bayes, Site Factor, Cosmos, and so on. And you don't want to have so many indexing agencies to mention your quality. If your journal is a part of Web of Science and Scopus, we strongly believe that you are a good journal, and that doesn't need all those indexation bodies in your website. And most of the time what happens, they are giving incorrect indexing practices, because nobody will go and check that whether this is a part of ESJI. Okay, even if you go and search that ESJI, if you pay 1,000 rupees, they will give indexation to your journal. If I start a journal now, like Vijay Journal of Chemistry, then they are ready to give some number for me. If I publish one issue, they will give a number for me, and they said that Vijay Journal of Chemistry is indexed with us. So you need to be very careful in going through and do research in the indexing agencies that are given in the website, claiming that they are indexing journals, but they are not so. They said that we have submitted our request to Scopus, soon we will get. No, you don't go for that. They will claim that they are indexed in that, and they will claim that we are a part of UGC journal, and then in the bracket they will say till 2019 June, because earlier we have 38,000 journals, out of which many journals quality were questionable, and now it is a UGC CAR journal. So it is not a part of UGC CAR, but still they want to say that UGC CAR, and in bracket they will say till 2019 June. And promising a short or ultra short review timings, you submit your work and you will get to know about the publications in 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. The guidelines say that if a journal is accepting your manuscript in 30 days, before 30 days, it is a fake journal. If they mention that in the website, we will give our results in 15 days, 12 days, 11 days, then that is a fake journal. That is ethical guidelines that are given by the premier publishing industries. And if you look at the contact details, you will not have any contact details. There will not be any mobile number, or there will not be any email IDs associated with the content, and you will have simply a contact form. So the contact details will be hidden there, and it is most probably due to their inaccurate location in connection with the journal title or journal name. One publisher, too many journals. We can see that a publisher named, if we are running a journal, we are from Department of Chemistry. I cannot run journal on history and economics, but I am saying that it is a scientific publications, and I am running a lot of journals. Usually predatory journals are having so many open access journals. I can name journal in India. Hyderabad is the hub of predatory publishers. Around more than 1,000 publishing groups are there in Hyderabad, running more than 25,000 journals. All journals are fake journals. So you need to be very careful. One publisher, too many journals, and the publisher credibility is very, very important. And most of the time you may receive a call for papers through email. Okay, and we are happy to see your research work published in this article. And now we are short of one article for our issue to be released. Kindly you write a review, or you write editorial or something like, you write and you send me. So those emails, and remember, premier journals will not send you any email. If you get the email, you need to be very careful. And thanks to these journals, because a new term is added to the English dictionary called spamnels, because these journals are called spamnels, which is a short form of spam journals, because it is populating our inbox with lot of spam emails. Let us see some of the examples. Okay, here I have given one particular journal, and if you look at that, I click the contact and no contact location is given. Instead it says you give your name, email ID, subject and your message and send. If the journal does not want to reveal its contact location and any possibilities, mobile number and so on, you need to be very careful. Don't go for those. All these guidelines are given by the librarian BL, and in his list also it is mentioned clearly, and you can even Google Scholar it. If you just type predatory journal, there are a number of articles available, and even a small nuances are covered in those papers. Here if you look at that, one publisher and 43 journals. Okay, International Journal of Pharmaceutical, International Journal of Pharmacy, and they have journals from pharma, medical, nursing, engineering, arts, science, humanities, and social science, philosophy and so on. So only one publisher and 43 journals. Definitely you don't want to go for those publishing groups. And people are asking that, sir, this has ISSN. Okay, so it should be a good journal, right? So I want to make it clear here, ISSN is used for indexing, and it is mainly used by the librarians for indexing the journals and so on. So because it has ISSN and it is a good journal, no, ISSN does not check the quality of the journal. Okay, so anyone can start a journal and they can get ISSN. So ISSN is not the measure of the quality of the journal. Okay, here I have masked the name of the journal to avoid conflict of interest. So some of the places I patched with the white color where originally journal name was there. Here you see this journal says that fast track publication within 48 hours guaranteed after receiving of publication fee and copyright form. Notification for acceptance within 48 hours of paper submission. So they are very keen in getting the payment rather than maintaining the quality. Look at that email ID. It is not corresponding to the particular journal or publishers. They say that editor ijrst@gmail.com, and you can track your manuscript by WhatsApp. So these are all not a good sign for a good manuscript. And then they will confuse you with a lot of impact factors. The scientific journal impact factor 7.4, ISRA journal impact factor, index Copernicus value, cross reference number, and so on. When you find lot of details, and that's something is fishy with that website. Okay, because this journal, especially because we do not want to have so many impact factors. When Web of Science is giving an impact factor, why do you want so many impact factors? If you go to to the details of those impact factors, let's say scientific journal impact factor, this will say if the journal is having one issue, let's say I'll give 1 point. And if the journal has ISSN, 1 point. If the journal has a website, 1 point. Like that, those impact factors will never have 0. They will all have the incremental value in their numbers. So 7, 7.4, 7.5. If you really think about an impact factor of 7.4, each of the paper published in this journal is cited by 7.4 times. But that is not the case. So whenever you have a lot of numbers, please do a research on that. Now here you see that another interesting aspect about this journal is the journal covers almost all the engineering divisions in Anna University, starting from aeronautical to textile engineering. So this is a broad scope. Whatever you put in the name of engineering, it will be accepting the papers. So this is not a good sign. This is a clear indication of being one of the predatory journals. Let's say here they said, please send your manuscript to some IJSRK editor@gmail.com. Most of the good journals, they are having a manuscript portal where you need to upload the manuscript. If you are sending a manuscript to your email, you need to be double checked with the content or the quality of the journal. So if it is a Gmail or Yahoo Mail or Hotmail, definitely you can think that that is a predatory journal. Here you have one journal, they said impact factor 3.4, 3.5, global impact factor 0.6. Whenever you have all these numbers, please type the name in the Web of Science and check whether the journal has a name there or not. Okay? If the journal, definitely that journal will not have a place in Web of Science, which means, which in turn, this will not have any impact factor. Here, this journal says UGC approved journal, impact factor 3.7985. There are other factors. So I checked that. They said article tracking, you can call and track, you can WhatsApp and other things. So no premier journal is allowing you to track the article through calling by telephone or sending a WhatsApp message. No. So you need to be very careful when they give such details. Don't go for those journals. Okay, here this journal starts with international journal on so and so. But if you look at the editorial board, they said people from Chennai, Bangalore, Chennai, Pune, Sivagangai, Pottapalayam, that some Vijayawada rural and Andhra Pradesh, and you find Kotambati and so on. There are many people are there in the editorial board and not even a single person from abroad, and still they claim themselves as international journal. That is the situation. So you need to be very careful in selecting a journal. Before selecting a journal, please do a review of the editorial board, whether the premier people, premier scientists or researchers or professors are there in the editorial board. Please check that. And here again, they have given a lot of journals and they are having an impact factor with which goes for 4 decimals. You need to be very careful with all those numbers. And they said the impact factor Google based. Google is not giving any impact factor, and even if they are giving some factors, but they are not reliable to that, because Google Scholar citation reports can be manipulated easily. So Google based IF is not a reliable impact factor or reliable source. Look at that here. Apply for a hard copy of author certificates. When you publish open access journal, your paper is available at free of cost in the internet. Why do you want to have hard copy? This is again an attractive feature that is coming up in the recent times. We all are bound to show some of the certificates because NAC, NIRF and other premier ranking agencies are asking documents, and most of the time instead of teaching, we are bound to do some of the documentation works. So people are tend to get, what about the certificate? Is the certificate is indexed with, having some premier society's signature, emblem, and so on. So we don't want to have any hard copy here. Say apply for hard copy, and then join as a reviewer. If it is an open call, definitely that will be that journal is a predatory journal, because no premier journal is giving an option as just join us. It is an invitation you will get through a premier forum, and not like this. Okay, we used to get a lot of spam mails. I got this particular email from a journal. They say this publishes original research work that contributes significantly to advance the scientific knowledge in pharmacy and pharmaceutical science. Sciences. Submissions are open. Kindly submit your paper for our journal on or before 20th June. They have given my name. And when I look at their contact address, I can find the contact form. You see that you fill the name and then last name, what is the university, organization, contact number, then email ID, and then they have a box and we need to write something and then send us. So they are not ready to reveal their contact address, so it is a fake journal. Then this is another interesting mail I got. The journal says Journal of Neurological Disorder and Stroke, and I am from Department of Chemistry. I have no connection with this particular journal, but still I got this mail. Dear Dr. Solomon, special issue tissue plasminogen activator TPA, and recommended title, The Role of Pi Linkers in Tuning Optoelectronic Properties of Triphenyllamine. This is a paper I published in a standard journal, RSC journal. So they have given this title, and then they have given a beautiful greeting, safety greetings. I hope you are staying safe and healthy through these unusual times. We are pleased to say that one of our existing authors recommended your important work to be read and published, and the journal, the email will have the title like this: article requisition on special issue. Okay, continuing that, since your work is closely related to our journal focus theme, but unfortunately that is not the case. I worked something in optoelectronic application, and this journal is a journal of neurological disorder and stroke, no connection, but still they will say, since your work is closely related to our journal focus theme, please write. Okay, we request you to extend support in submitting any 2 to 5 pages. Any 2 to 5 pages to write, they are ready to accept that. It can be original research, review article, case report, short communication, perspective, editorial, anything on your research area, they will be happy to accept it. So if you get this kind of email ID, then definitely that is not a good journal. So I checked again, I went and I checked with the contact address. Again, they have a contact form. I didn't find the location from where this journal is running. Okay. And then you see that this is a publication is Sai Med Central. I thought, okay, let me check this in the BL's list. I mentioned that BL came up with a list of predatory journals. I checked that journal Sai Med Central, and that this particular publisher is a part of BL's list, which means it is a predatory publisher, and the journals are publishing from these publisher are also termed as predatory publications. Okay, I got another mail called approved journal. I don't know what do they mean approved. And they said that impact factor is 7.97. An interesting thing is fast publication, low cost, fast response, one-day publication, low cost, free e-certificate. The thing is that if it is a one-day publication, definitely it will not have any peer review. Okay. And the interesting and funny thing is low cost, free e-certificate. When it is a e-certificate, and they can give a high cost free e-certificate. I don't know why they mentioned low cost free e-certificate. I checked the website. They said international peer reviewed and refereed journals, open access journals. From the sentence formation itself, you can understand it is poorly written. Call for papers April 2020, and I checked this in May. So most of the time the website is not properly maintained, and the old call will be rolling over there on the website. So that are all the indications. Impact factor is 7.97. I checked that, and then they said impact factor 7.97 calculated by Google Scholar. So that is not a reliable one. Okay. Again, another mail ID, they said impact factor 2017 is 7.383, and I got this mail few days back. And when we have impact of 2019, why they are having impact factor of 7.3 in 2017? And then they said that this will cover all areas of physical sciences and engineering, life sciences, health sciences, social sciences and humanities, business and economics, agricultural science. What else you need? They have covered almost all the branches in the world. So whatever you submit, we will give the response in 24 hours of submission, which means there is no scholarly publishing ethics associated with this journal. Okay. When you think about the impact factor, it is a fact that Thomson Reuters, and now it is Clarivate Analytics, journal citation report, impact factor is the most reliable and authentic one. and is the only measure that is considered for the purpose of academic evaluation, and all other metrics with a lot of impact factors, SJIF, universal impact factor, global impact factor, and so on, are the products of other indexing agencies are not acceptable. Okay, and another interesting example here I have given. In our school days, we might have played with some of the cartoons that are appeared in Silver Malar to find 6 differences between the 2 cartoons. So here I have given the left hand side is a legitimate journal and the right hand side which is not a legitimate journal, which is okay. So here Elsevier has a tree and a logo, and this journal is also having some tree, and the journal says Journal of Molecular Liquids, and here also it says Journal of something, and then the same way the year is given in bracket and the page number is also given. Look at that on the extreme right hand side, they have the front page of the Journal of Molecular Liquids. Here also they have given a front page. Look at that article info, the same way article history, received, accepted, available, the same thing they have given. Look at the title, Journal of Molecular Liquids is a legitimate journal, and look at that, they have the same gray color background. Look at the font, Journal of something, and look at the color of the font, everything is very similar. And look at that abstract, you can note down the line, how the line is drawn, how the abstract, what is the font of that, what is the size, and all these things are exactly mimicked here. So this is also one of the key aspects one should look, because most of the college faculty members are deceived by the attractive PDF, okay, the PDF versions that they offer for the authors. So we need to be very careful in selecting a journal. Okay, as I said that whenever you come across any journal, just go to Web of Science, create a username and password. It is freely available. You can create a username and password, and this window you can type the journal of whatever the journal or ISSN, whatever you have the name, you can type here and go click the search journal. And if you find the journal, you can go and search view profile. In the journal, it will give the history, whether it is open access or not. If it is open access, how much one should pay, what is the impact factor, whether it has an impact factor or not. All the information will be available there. So you don't want to deceived by any of the fake factors or the numbers given in the website. Always go to Web of Science and type the journal name and get to know about the details of those journals. Okay. So another aspect, like we have seen how the appearance of the front page of a manuscript or an article can be mimicked. Here you look at that third text is a Web of Science index journal, and there is another journal called Third Concept. Okay, very similar names, sounds similar, but the Third Concept is not a Web of Science index journal. Look at that, Religion, State and Society is a it's a Web of Science index journal. Religion and Society is not an index journal. Look at that, Third Concept, third text, Religion, State and Society is an index journal. Religion and Society is not an index journal. Very similar names, we need to be very careful. I'll give another example. International Journal of Computational Science and Engineering is a Web of Science index journal. On the other hand, International Journal of Computer Sciences and Engineering is not an index journal. Look at that. Only thing, it is a computational science. Here, computer sciences. That's it. All other names are very similar. So the left hand side is an index journal. Right hand side is not. The other journal, Journal of Artificial Intelligence and Soft Computing Research, is an index journal, Web of Science index journal, and the International Journal of Artificial Intelligence and Soft Computing is not an index journal. So you just see that the titles are sounds very similar, and you need to be very careful in selecting the journal. Okay, we have seen some of the examples. There are many examples. You can Google it. You say that 33 ways of identifying predatory journal and so on. What are the problems associated with the predatory publications? Your published paper may go unavailable at any time, because all those journals are online journals, and whenever the journal is not getting a required number of manuscripts, the individual or the institution can close the journal So your article will be going unavailable at any time. You need to be very careful. The quality of your research work is questioned because most of the time the plagiarist content will be there. Your work is very good, but the next article which appeared in the same issue in that journal is a plagiarist content, or it is a substandard, unformatted, and ugly manuscript. In that case, your work will also be viewed with the same goggles, and your quality of work will be questioned definitely. Your reputation may go down when your colleagues notice your name in these dubious journals. You need to be very careful. Of course, the reputation of the institute also at bay, and mainly it will spoil your MPhil and PhD students' career, because nowadays very strict with the selection process when it comes to assistant professor or anything. When your students are going and submitting their CVs in the interview panel, when they identify that the particular candidate has a predatory publication, then definitely the student will face the consequences, and definitely that will spoil the career of the student. So we need to be very careful in selecting a journal and avoiding these predatory journals. And some of the guidelines that are laid down by Springer Publications, they said 7 guidelines they have given. You should recognize the journal, and have you come across the title in your reading of the subject, or whether your colleagues know about the title and whether they have published articles in that journal. Please check. You can easily see who published the title, the journal name, contact them, go to contact and see whether they have the location. Can you call them? Can you mail them? Please check the reliability of the journal, and then the journal index in databases that you regularly use to find papers. Check the journal name in Web of Science or Scopus to check whether they are part of that journal, that databases. The journal is a member of standards and affiliations, whether the journal is run by the premier institutions or societies of your domain. Verify that. You should recognize the editorial board members, and whether those members have published papers in the journal or not. You need to check that, and whether the peer review policy is clearly mentioned in the journal website, along with the article processing costs or charges. All these things you need to be very thorough with before going to submit a paper. So I would like to give a few takeaways from this session. When you publish your research work in any of the open access journals, you need to check whether the journal is indexed in Web of Science or Scopus. If not, you are wasting your money. I repeat, if not, you are wasting your money. Whenever you come across the journal metrics like impact factor, site score, and so many numbers given on the website, you should be watchful. Please do a research on those numbers and get to know about the truth associated with those numbers. Read the recent articles in the premier journals in your field and design your work to match the expectations of the journals. The problem is, many a times we design some work, we come up with a manuscript and we try to look for journals. No. The good thing is you need to have a constant contact with the journals and the kind of articles that they are accepting, and the recent articles, recent trends in your domain, and based on that you need to design your work so that you can very well match the expectations of the reviewers. Fake journals look for money, while legitimate open access journals look for quality of research. You need to be very careful. Though open access journals in both the streams, the legitimate and illegitimate journals, they will ask for money, but the legitimate journals never compromise the quality for money. To publish a quality research work in a standard journal, it will take time. It is not like, yesterday I designed a work, tomorrow I will send, day after tomorrow it will be published. No. Rome was not built in a day, so it will take time. If you want to get a quality article published in a quality journal, it needs quality time. You can easily avoid publishing in an untrustworthy journal by taking few minutes to investigate the journal before submitting. Please do a research. That is what I want to say. These are the takeaways. I would conclude in this way. Epporol yar yar vaiketpinum apporol meiporol kanvadarivu. To discern the truth in everything by whomsoever spoken is wisdom. So please do a research before selecting a journal. Okay, I conclude with this, and let me I thank Lord Almighty for giving this session for me once again, and I thank my beloved professors of St. Xavier's College, where I did my undergraduation. I still remember the guidance given by Professor V. Rajadurai, Dr. J. Anthony Deravium, Dr. Augustine Thomas, Dr. V. Jayabal, Professor Tirthuvaraj, and Dr. Stanley Xavier, and Professor Bhaskar for their guidance and encouragement. When I stayed there 3 years, I learned a lot. And then I thank my beloved teachers of Bishop Weber College, who gave all the encouragement and a bit of taste in research domain. And I thank my third institution, who is none other than my PhD supervisor, Dr. P. Venuvanalingam, a legend in theoretical and computational chemistry in India, who actually shaped my career and who taught me how to begin a research and how to proceed with research and how to get findings and the insights from numbers. So I love those aspects that I learned from my PhD supervisor, Dr. P. Venuvanalingam. It's a gesture to acknowledge the help rendered by all my teachers. And I thank you all for your patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you for the excellent presentation, sir.
Nice.
Soumya Mitra. So sometime we got mail for chapter writing for edited book from well-known publishing house. They provide lot of links of that publication house, but not able to understand about its authenticity. Please help me regarding this matter.
So whenever you get a mail, most probably it will be a spam mail, but sometime a premier publishing unit or publishing group or a book company is calling you to contribute a chapter or a book, and you should know that whether you are a giant in that field. Because
sorry to interrupt, sir. It's me, Soumya Mitra. But sir, like the editors are sending the mail. Like hardly I have known all those persons, but it is from the Springer Nature, and I am from the Geography department.
Okay,
So
okay.
like that's why I thought like whether I will send the abstracts or not. That is the main queries.
So in that case, you can check the Scopus and Web of Science whether they are including those publishers in their indexation. Because Scopus and the Web of Science also indexing the books. So if they have
books also,
yeah, books also. So if it is a premier publications and if the books are really is of very good quality, definitely you can go and contribute. And you don't want to pay the money. The point here is people are making money out of all these things, and you should not be the prey.
Exactly, sir.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes.
Vijay sir?
Yes.
In a particular field, most of the scientific words are common. The software shows their words are under plagiarism. How to avoid it?
Yeah, okay. So this is a question in the morning also. I have noticed that the similar question came, and whenever you think about plagiarism check, I frankly speaking, I have never checked plagiarism for my for any of my papers. Okay, and if I am working with density functional theory, and then that particular density functional theory will be repeated at least 100 times in the manuscript. Let us say, okay, we are worrying about the plagiarism software, what the plagiarism software will tell about the percentage and so on. This is applicable only to the PhD thesis when you are submitting it for PhD degree. And if you look at the journals, and they know that they are the premier journals. Let us say you are from mathematics department, and you have derived a big derivation consisting of 200 equations, and you say by substituting equation 1 in equation 20, okay, and then the same way substituting equation 2 in equation 21, equation 3, like that. Then if you look at the manuscript, if you count by words, there are a lot of words are repetitive, and that is unavoidable. So when you are submitting your manuscript to the journals, and they will run a plagiarism, and all these words are showing in a plagiarism, they will never mind those words because they are professional editors and they are worrying about the content. I will give an example. People are worrying about the percentage. Let's say you have, let's say I'll take my case. I have submitted my PhD thesis. I have 5 chapters, okay, and 5 chapters I wrote 4 chapters I wrote of my own, without a single plagiarism, and the 5th chapter completely cut and copy paste from some other thesis. Okay, let's say I'm submitting this 5 chapters for plagiarism check, and it shows that 20% plagiarism. Am I right? one chapter out of 5, 20% plagiarism. University says 25% is allowed, let us say. So my PhD thesis is okay to go into the evaluation process, but that is not the case with the journals. Even you have 1% plagiarism, you copied one sentence from the introduction of another paper and paste it here, and rest of the all content is your original content, then also they will not consider your paper. It is not about the 1% or 10%, it is about how you plagiarized. Hope I answered that. So don't worry about the plagiarism percentage, only you will be worrying about plagiarism percentage in PhD thesis submission. And for the journals, you don't copy paste. You can rephrase and you can give the suitable references. And there's a separate talk. If you want to have a session, we have experts in our MCC who can give an elaborate idea about plagiarism and how to avoid that. And that is not the scope of this talk. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
One more question, sir.
Yes.
Some non-indexed journals are claiming impact factor on their website openly. How will I find out the proper impact factor?
No, I said that you can type the name in Web of Science. You go and type the journal name in Web of Science or the ISSN 8-digit number in Web of Science. If the journal is not there and it will not have any impact factor, that is a fake impact factor. So that is a simple tip I can give. Go to Web of Science and copy paste and see whether that is there or not. If that is not there, then it is not a good journal.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
It's time for vote of thanks.
Yeah, I'll just scroll through quickly if any other questions. Okay, what about multidisciplinary journals? I mean, I'll just read out to you. What about multidisciplinary journals? They accept papers from any subject. Are they predatory? Yes, definitely they are predatory if they are not part of Web of Science. And some Fabina said, what about the papers published in 2011, 2012? We are not aware of this at time. You can send a mail to retract your papers, or whatever happens, it happened. You don't want to be the prey for those journals in the coming days. And action regarding some of the people, also no action is taken by Government of India. Government of India is having a lot of other works to do, so they are least bothered about these things. So we don't want to expect them to take action. Instead, let us educate our teaching fraternity, and if we are not paying and publishing any of the papers in these predatory journals, definitely the day will come where they will shut their industries and they will go off from the field. So we need to create interest, and I would rather say that we need to educate our people.
Thank you, sir. Vote of thanks. Shall we go to the end, sir?
Yes. If there are no other questions from the audience.
Participants, any questions? Okay.
Yeah. If not, we can call it a day. No problem.
Okay, sir. I'm very happy and grateful that distinguished speaker Dr. P. Wilson and Dr. R. Vijay Solomon from Madras Christian College, Chennai, for sharing their knowledge and experience to explore better way of research publications in reported journals. I would like to take this opportunity to express my deep sense of gratitude to our management and principal for providing opportunity to conduct this webinar. I also wish to give a special thanks to Dr. Jayaprabha, IQAC coordinator, for giving support and encouragement. I must also mention and thank our HOD, Dr. Effie Cordelia, for her valuable advice. I thank Dr. Jairobi for her technical support and help towards the conduction of webinar. Last but not least, I thank all the participants from various institutions. Thank you all. Thank you all for your active participations. Thank you.